How do you feel about toxic influencer culture? Can somebody put the kettle on? Because the tea needs to brew. Hello everyone, assalamu alaikum, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to do a little bit of a chit chat, get ready with me. It has been a while, but before we get started, that I have colour corrected with the Primark Soft Focus Concealer. This is in the shade Honey. It's just a really nice colour corrector, guys. Like, it's just a good peachy tone. And I wanted to share with you guys two serums that I have been using. This gold one here is very fancy. This I've been using for my eyebrows. So this is the NYK1 brand. I've seen them on social media for absolutely years now, and last year on Black Friday I actually ended up buying the second serum that I'm going to show you. And then after I bought that, then they reached out to me. They were like, oh, do you want to work with us? Do you want to be an affiliate? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And a lot of my bloggers that I follow that I really trust, that are like the smaller bloggers, they have been raving about this. This one is the eyelash one, and this is the one that gained like the most popularity on social media, and this is the one I got during last year's Black Friday sales, which are already nearly upon us. Oh my goodness. Can't believe how fast that's come around. But yeah, guys, this serum is amazing. It does work, but it's one of those serums that I will say that you have to keep using. Like, if you stop using it for a couple of months, I feel like then your lashes are not going to look as long and thick. But there was a time a couple of months after I started using this where I went to see my sister-in-law in London, and she was asking what false lashes I was wearing. And I was like, actually, it's this lash serum that I've been using. So yeah, I've obviously been like out of the bunk of usual routine with skincare and everything, with the move and everything, so I've not been in the best habit. But now that I am at my parents' house for a couple of weeks, I thought I'll just start using this. Sorry about the stuff in the background, by the way, guys. I didn't bring my tripod, so I'm putting my camera up on my sister's jewelry box, and it's all a little bit crazy, okay? But let's just start the makeup. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know how you have been. It's already November. We are 2 months away from 2022, and you know, I don't want to speak too soon, but I am very excited for 2022. I think inshallah there are going to be good things coming in this year ahead. And I was just chatting to Maria, we literally speak every single day, and she was saying, you know, like, I feel like at this time of the year everyone starts winding down and stuff, but actually, and we start thinking like, oh, in January I'm going to start this or I'm going to start that. But actually, if we got started on those things now, what an amazing start of the year it would be, because we had already started those things that we've been wanting to do. And I have definitely been in that mindset this week. Last week I came down to my parents, and I feel like it genuinely took me a whole week to really recover from the move. It might sound dramatic. If it does, it is what it is. I'm just going to use the original Cover Aquan concealer, by the way, in 07. If you guys want to see me talk about the new version of this concealer, I have already done a video, a first impressions of the two. So you are more than welcome to go and check that video out. Okay, so I did ask you guys for some questions. So one of the questions is, what is something that you love about yourself? In what aspect is the first thing I want to say. You know, are you talking about physically? Are you talking about my personality? I suppose one thing that I love about myself is my drive. Even though I wouldn't have described myself as the most driven person, I say I'm definitely a type B personality. You know, I'm not incredibly organized. I don't have everything mapped out or anything like that, but I definitely do have a drive and determination that I'm proud of, and that I am kind of really realizing and seeing more the older that I get. So for example, if you said to me 3 years ago you will be starting a photography business and absolutely loving it, I would have laughed at you. I'd have been like, no, I went to university to do psychology, and then I ended up doing teaching, which is what I've always wanted to do, and so why on earth would I go down the creative route? Like, that's not what I set out to do. You know, like back then I think I was very much like, well, this is what I set out to do. But actually now at the age of 26, alhamdulillah, I've had a bit of a career. I know I'm only 26, and so I can't say like, oh yeah, I've had 10 years in the teaching field. I've not had 10 years in the teaching field, but I have almost for 10 years been in the education field. You know, I started off as a tutor, then I went into teaching straight after university. As much as a career is important, for me, I have definitely realised that actually, if something is not fulfilling you and if it's not bringing you lots of joy, just because it's bringing you more money, it's not necessarily the best thing. Now, I know that's super privileged, totally aware of that. I know there's lots of people who would love to stop what they're having to do to pursue a passion. But I would also say to those people that if you really, really want to do something, start it on the side, start it on the weekend. There are so many photographers, amazing photographers that I follow, you guys, who are doing a 9-to-5 job and then they're doing weddings and events on the weekend. It's not easy. Like, that is what I would call like the hustle life. Like, that's not easy, but for most people, for a period of time, that's what you have to do. And it just so happens that my life has fallen in the pattern of, I don't have to do that. I don't have to stick to a job that actually, at the last sort of year especially, I was kind of really struggling with. I'm not ashamed to say that. I've spoken about that already a little bit. You know, I'll link that video down below if you're interested. And again, I will never say never. I will never say like, oh, that's it, I'm never going back into the classroom. But at the same time, I think this is a unique opportunity for me to really pursue what I want to do and genuinely what I have a passion to do. And sometimes you don't know what that is until you've passed the 16, 17, 18 years stage, you know? Like, I've always loved photography, but I would never really imagined it to be something that I could pursue as an actual career. And on that note, I am absolutely nowhere at the stage where I could even call this like a part-time job, really. I mean, I'm getting bookings. I've got like maybe 1 or 2 every month, every other month, which is definitely better than, you know, this time last year where I hadn't even started taking bookings properly. But my point is that what I love about myself is, you know, I am not afraid to go after what I love and what I really want to do. Really wanted to be a teacher, and alhamdulillah, I did it. And none of that would have been possible without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without the support of my loved ones, of course. But it does take determination and it does take sacrifice. I think people don't talk about that enough. The next question is, who do you look up to in life? I have, alhamdulillah, a lot of people that I look up to in my life. I suppose at my age now, like my mum and my grandma are probably like the 2 most inspiring women. My mum, because she does so much and she rarely ever complains about it. She just gets on, and I think when you get married and you have your own household and your own responsibilities, you know, I'm not a mother yet, but you know, even just having your own household, like that's the only time when honestly you can really see like how much there is to do and to get done and work through. And mashallah, like she is such a selfless person, and my nanny is the same, if not more so, you know, like everything she went through, everything she's been through, everything she's done for her children, for her grandchildren, like it blows my mind. So I definitely look up to them. And then in terms of like other people, definitely like my friends. So Mario, you guys know, like there's a video coming up with her very soon. I really look up to her. There's so many things that I'm inspired by with her. People that are online, like my friends in Milton Keynes, like them like working their hardest in their careers and like progressing in their careers and stuff. I definitely surround myself, I'd say, by people that I'm inspired by, because that is the only people you should be around, you know. One of my sister-in-laws, I look up to her so much. Like she is so hardworking. She's the mother. She works for herself as well as working for within the education system, and then like she's also so good around the house as well. And I'm like, how do you do this, Baji? Like honestly. So alhamdulillah, I would say that I'm really, really lucky to be surrounded by amazing women. But you didn't say who do you look up to out of women, you also said men. So I totally look up to my husband. His drive, his motivation to get things done, his vision, which I've never come across anyone that has a vision like Iqra's, mashallah. If we're going to get a bit deep here, I think he would really like it if I just would be like, yes, this is going to be amazing, but sometimes I'm a bit like, ah. But at the risk of sounding cheesy, I totally do look up to my husband, and I'm not ashamed to say that, because he is an amazing hardworking man, and his drive and his ambition are definitely 2 things that attracted me to him as well. I know that I definitely needed to be married to someone who has more ambition than me, because I think I definitely, like I said, I've already talked about this a little bit, but I definitely was someone who was a bit more like, stay in the safe lane, don't, you know, push your boat out too much, stick to what you know. And actually the only thing that's stopping you from getting to what you want is your fears. So you need to feel the fear and do it anyway. And I know it's so cheesy, but it's so true. Like, you have to just try. You've got to try, guys. Like, what is the worst that can happen at the end of the day? It's such an autumnal colour. This is a Beauty Bakery Lip Whip in the shade Ginger Snap, and it is so autumn appropriate. I love it. I'm just gonna keep it as is. Next question is, how do you feel about toxic influencer culture? Can somebody put the kettle on because the tea needs to brew? Honestly, guys, someone who has been on the internet and part of like the influencer culture in a small way for about 8 years now, I am so over big bloggers and their following getting to their heads and genuinely making them think that they are so much better than everyone else. But then it's weird because like the persona they have online is like really sweet and really nice and oh my god, so funny and relatable, but a lot of them are honestly like very different in real life, and it's such a shame. It's such a shame. I genuinely have unfollowed most bigger bloggers, and I will only follow bigger bloggers who I don't know, I'm very good at like reading people and getting a vibe from people. And say that, but then I was also then talking to this girl who is also like a blogger as well, and she was telling me about her experience with another big blogger who was really rude to her a couple of years ago and like made her feel like this big as a person. And I didn't get that. I mean, I had a like, some bloggers are just like, I don't know about you, like I'm not sure if I am buying this whole ha ha ha, I'm so relatable but also like so amazing and look at me kind of act. And I was following her, but then when I heard that blogger's experience, I was like, you know, I'm just not gonna, I know I'm one person, but I'm not gonna follow you, because I don't think, right, okay, influencing is a real job, influencing is a hard job, and you're also always getting people's opinions constantly, and your life revolves around you sharing bits of your life, and you're constantly under scrutiny, but you're also, like, a lot of them are getting paid good money, you guys, like good money, like a lot more money than a typical person get from their 9 to 5. So obviously you're saying that like the pros are there's loads of opportunity for success, financial success, working with brands, like all this different type of success. The cons are that obviously you are going to be getting scrutiny. I think it does make you a harder person, like it makes you have a harder shell, which I can understand, but there's no need to like be nasty, be belittling. There's like these weird cliques on social media. There's like bloggers who have to have a certain number of followers for them to follow you, and if you don't have that number then you're not good enough. I have been unfollowed by so many bloggers in the Muslim community, like bigger bloggers, and I just think a part of it is probably because like I'm very vocal on Palestine and boycotting, and they want these brand deals with these brands that unfortunately, you know, are supported by not even country, the place that we won't talk about, so they don't want to associate themselves at all with me. But then there's other bloggers who work with those brands, and I'm never ever criticize anyone's bag, but they still follow me because they know that just because I'm quitting doesn't mean that they don't need to follow me anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I think, I'll be honest, like when I was younger I used to get really upset like when like someone who I'd followed and supported for many years unfollowed me. Like that genuinely upset me, like genuinely, and I'd be like, I don't understand, what did I do wrong, blah blah blah. But like now at my age of 26, I'm just like, at the end of the day, who really cares? Like I don't care enough. Like I've got enough going on in my life now. I feel like back then I just put far too much importance on Instagram and on the blogger culture and everything like that. But when you start going to some events, and I've not been to a lot, but I've been to a few, when you go to some of these events like Smoky Not Smudgy, for example, you really get to see and get a taste of like what people are like. And then some, obviously, again, like at these events they're under scrutiny, there's loads of people watching them, they are meeting loads of people, like they might slip up, whatever, but you do get a good idea. And I think, I don't know, my personal opinion on toxic influence culture is I just think social media is what you make it to be. So although there is a big toxic culture of these kind of bloggers online, and they do get a massive following, you know, there's certain bloggers out there who have married outside their race and are then critiquing their own race, and it's like, honey, you are still going to be that race regardless. Do you know what I mean? So why are you dragging your own race down through the mud? There's other people who deny their race at all and pretend to be other races. Again, like, it's not that deep, and I just think it's bizarre. Like, honestly, social media shows you the very bizarre side of people, and I think it's only when you are a blogger yourself and you have supported these people from when they had like almost no followers to now they're like in the hundreds or whatever, and then they unfollow you, and it just shows you like how little value they have for realness and for real people, and how much importance they put on numbers. And it's a massive numbers game, and it's like the bigger you're following, the more importance and more value you have. But really and truly, if Instagram went down tomorrow, which, remember guys, like Instagram was down and everyone was like freaking out about it. If Instagram went down tomorrow, like, what actually makes you special? What makes you so important that you can make anyone feel inferior because of numbers? Like, that's my opinion. I just think a lot of bloggers who have become toxic because of their following need to kind of just look at themselves in the mirror, ask themselves why they think they're so important just because of a number, and maybe just not think of so highly of themselves. Also, I feel like a lot of the times when you get sucked up in this world, it's very easy to forget the importance of important things in life, like the fact that, you know, we're all going to die and return to Allah. So for anyone to feel like they are above anyone else because of a number on social media, it's a little bit laughable. But like I said, it's taken me years to build that resilience and to not care. I did care about this, and I did get upset when I would be unfollowed, and I did feel really rubbish about myself, and now I'm kicking myself. I'm like, why did you care so much? Like, what did any of those girls do or bring to your life that was so important that you felt a type of way? You know, like, nothing. They didn't do anything that was that special. Next question is advice to newlyweds. I actually have a video all about like my first 4 lessons that I learned in my first 2 years of marriage, so I will link that down below, because I think that's going to be super helpful to you if you are about to go into newlywed stage. Hope it is anyway. But generally, my advice to newlyweds is, first of all, it's a very exciting time, it's a very happy time, hopefully, inshallah, for everyone who's going through that. And you know, you're starting this new chapter of your life. But once the whole excitement dies down and the bubble dies down, I think we have to give each other as much grace as possible. You have had a massive change and he has had a massive change. Regardless of what the circumstances are, you are now, both of you, sharing your space, are now like much closer to someone than you've ever been. You've never been as close and as intimate to anyone as your husband or your wife. So regardless of how long you've known each other before you got married, or how much you used to talk or whatever, it's still going to be a big change and a big difference. And like Mario and I spoke about this in our upcoming like first episode of our little podcast series thing that we're starting. But regardless of like how well you know someone, it's only when you get married and live with them that you really get to know them. So I think give the other person grace, have patience, have sabr. Always remember that like you're a team, and that whatever you guys are facing, you can face together. We are not fighting each other, we are fighting the problem together. And it's very, very, very easy to fall into the trap of just like bickering and arguing. I think the second thing is, like, although people always say, oh, the first year's the hardest, first year's the hardest, like, don't just expect the first year to be the hardest. Go into it with obviously like as much du'as and, you know, hope that inshallah it will all be fine, but also like know that it's not just necessarily the first year it's going to be the hardest. It's a massive life adjustment and change, especially if you're moving cities. And I think that sometimes we can forget like the impact that it might have on us. And I definitely went through the motions, and I've spoken about a lot of that. You know, a lot of my newlywed life in a way has been documented on my channel, which I'm so happy about because I feel like it's genuinely helpful. I remember doing a video where I just talked about, you know, how overwhelmed I was feeling when I moved to Scotland, and you know, our plans had changed again. And I remember like doing that video, and it was very scary to be so vulnerable, but at the same time I know that it has actually helped many younger women, and for that I'm so grateful that I even have the ability to do that. The main thing is you're not alone. Your mum's been through it, your sisters have been through it, your cousins have been through it. You know, reach out, talk to people maybe online that you trust, but don't feel like you are alone. I think as well, like in your newlywed stage, there is a lot of scrutiny on you. People are watching you, you know, both sides of the family are like seeing you and your spouse for the first time, like as a couple. But I think try to really just soak it in and enjoy that newlywed life, because it does go by really quickly. I would also say that don't worry with the whole honeymoon phase thing, because I'm a strong believer that there's no such thing as a honeymoon phase, because you can bring the honeymoon phase back into your marriage whenever you want to together. You're gonna learn so much. So one thing I would also say is just be ready to have incredible self-development and self-growth, especially if you are like in your early 20s like Iqra and I were. I think your early 20s are generally just a massive like self-development growth phase anyway. So once you get married as well, that is a big, like, that's just another thing on top, you know. But alhamdulillah, it's also such a lovely blessing to be able to grow with that person and to be able to look back and be like, wow, like this time 3 years ago, this is what we were doing, this is how we were thinking, and now we're here together. And it's genuinely like one of life's biggest blessings if you are in the right marriage. And inshallah, I pray that every single person watching this is in the right marriage, or gets to marry like the most wonderful person for them, because you know, marriage is encouraged for a reason. It's a really beautiful thing. I am the first person to talk about how difficult it can be, but I also want to point out that it is genuinely wonderful. And every marriage is a little bit different. Like, do not compare, do not get into the trap of comparing. I think that's what a lot of people do, and that is super unhealthy and just not helpful to anybody, not helpful to you, your spouse, anything. So with that being said, I think we'll end the video here. Sorry, this is a very basic makeup look, I've just noticed. I'm just gonna spray my face down. Got to last. Oh, and I haven't done, well, I did a bit of Madly blush, but actually I'm just gonna quickly put a little bit of, my sister recommended me this actually. This is from the Superdrug brand B, and it's the Plum, why did I say it like that? The Plum liquid blush. It's so pretty. So you basically just put a little bit, oh my goodness, she says a little bit, and then she goes and puts loads of it on. And unfortunately I don't have the right brush. Like, I really would have loved to use this with a stipple brush, but that is somewhere back in Scotland. So just put a little bit on the back of your hand, and it looks a bit intimidating, but it does blend out really beautifully. And then you just literally stipple it on. Now I bet you guys will look at me like, why would you do this like right at the end of your makeup? But like, how pretty that is. It's so nice. It gives you a really beautiful colour to the cheeks. Love it. That was a great recommendation from my sister, and I totally agree with her. I think that's so pretty and so autumn appropriate. I love it. This is the first time in a long time that I've actually filmed without lights on. Oh my goodness. I was gonna film a Primark haul as well today, but I don't know if we're gonna have time now, so I might have to leave that. Anyway guys, that is the end of the questions. That's the end of the Get Ready With Me. I hope that you enjoyed getting ready with me. I hope you have a fantastic November, inshallah. There is going to be a little podcast segment that's starting on my channel very soon with Maria and I. And there's also going to be a vlog from the last of the moving stuff, I think, or traveling down with Rumi, that vlog. That should be up on Sunday. And then yeah, hopefully some sort of consistency. Let's see where these next 2 weeks take us. I hope you're doing well. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye. Guys, Rumi's got something on his nose that I've like tried to get off of a cleaning cloth and it won't get off, but hello gorgeous, hello. Hello.